Good evening and welcome to Year 8 Curriculum Choices evening. And I'd just like to start by thanking you for taking the time to watch this presentation and in supporting your son or daughter through what we consider to be a really important process in their journey through secondary school. And it's really the part of a year-long process in which your son or daughter is going to complete curriculum choices and options in Year 8 and narrow down their curriculum. They are then going to narrow it further this time next year in Year 9, moving into Year 10 and 11. So there's a bit of a focus this evening on what your son or daughter is going to be doing next year, but also one eye to the future in terms of what they're going to be doing in Year 10 and 11. And as I've already said, we feel this is a really important process in your son or daughter's journey through secondary school, because they're starting to make decisions through this options process that are perhaps going to influence what they might go on to do beyond their time at pre-S will certainly influence what they're going to go on to do within their GCSEs, but may well as well start to inform some of the decisions they're going to make about what they may want to do in the future in terms of careers and further forward. And we feel that getting this right is a really important step ensuring that your son or daughter is successful, motivated and happy, not only in Year 9, but also in Year 10 and 11 as they're studying towards the GCSEs. So we like to invest a good amount of time in this and make sure that students are really clear on what it is they're opting for, what each subject entails, and what these decisions are going to lead to. Now, we have been incredibly proud of the GCSE success that our students have had over a sustained period of time now. And these on screen now are the last set of results from a formal year of exams in 2019. And what this success has told us is that we have been successful in creating a curriculum and an options process which enables our pupils to have every chance of being really successful at GCSEs. And the aim of this presentation is to provide you with as much information as possible so that you can help your son or daughter to make those decisions about what they're going to be studying next year. Now, I've already done an assembly to the students last week where I talked about some key things to consider in their decision making. And what I said to them was to think about perhaps what career it may be they want to follow. And I know it's very early days in Year 8 and some students will have no idea at all, but perhaps if your son or daughter does have a particular passion or a particular career path they want to follow, that may well inform some of the decisions they're making. They may already have an idea about whether they want to go on to further education, whether that might be college or even university. So thinking about what courses they might want to study when they leave pre-S. So they also might want to think about, and I think this is a really key one, particularly for students in Year 8, what subjects are they doing really well in and what subjects do they enjoy? And I think the message we always give to the students is if you are doing a subject that you really enjoy and you're passionate about, the chances are you're going to be really successful in that, because I think we all know that the things we are passionate about and the things that we enjoy are often the things that we are most motivated to do. I then went through some simple do's and don'ts for students. So in terms of the do's, I asked them to read their curriculum choices booklet carefully. Hopefully you've all seen that now. It's a booklet with a pink front page and your son or daughter was issued with that last Wednesday. So hopefully they've brought that home and you've read through it. That booklet has got all of the information on each individual subject, and it talks about what the students will be studying next year, how it will be assessed, and where that might lead to at GCSE. So it's really important that your son or daughter reads through it carefully and reads through it with you as well. I've advised that they discuss each subject with their teachers, their tutor, their head of year, and also older students. I think older students are a really good source of information because obviously they've studied the course, they know what it entails, and they can talk your son or daughter through what their experience of it has been as a student. So I think that's absolutely invaluable. And I know a number of students have met with individual staff over the last few days to discuss their options as well and guide them through the process. We've asked students to pick subjects they feel they will enjoy and also that they are currently successful in. And we've asked students to pick subjects where they're currently behaving and completing all of the work set. And obviously you can be guided by the recent school report that your son or daughter received. In terms of some do nots, and the number one do not for me is picking a subject because your friend has chosen it. This is something that comes up time and time again each year, but obviously is a big mistake to choose it simply based on friendships, because obviously they might not end up in the same class. they may not be friends when we get to year 9, but also what it often leads to is students studying a course that they're not particularly motivated in because they've picked it for the wrong reasons, and they're often the students who are unhappy with their choices. I've said to all students not to pick before they have gone through the booklet carefully, as I've already talked about. I've said to them not to pick a subject based on thinking it's easy. Unfortunately, at GCSE, particularly since they reformed GCSEs in 2016, there is no easy subject at GCSE anymore. So simply picking it on the basis that they feel it might be easy is the wrong choice. And also picking a subject based on liking a particular teacher, again, can be a mistake because there's no guarantee, number one, that your son or daughter may get that teacher for a particular subject, but also teaching staff move on through promotions and various other reasons. So it may well be that they pick a subject based on one teacher, and unfortunately that teacher is no longer working at the school. So again, there are a number of reasons why we've advised students not to pick based on those. So just looking forward to year 10 and 11, as I've already said, GCSEs were reformed between 2016 and 2018. And now the significant changes have been is that in year 11 now, most students will sit more exams than they would have done previously. The majority of students will sit 20 plus exams in a 4-week period. And lots of exams now are 100% based on an exam rather than having elements of coursework. So this is worth considering, thinking ahead to year 10 and 11 in terms of which courses there might still be some elements of coursework or practical work and which are going to be 100% exam at the end, because depending on how your son or daughter studies or depending on their needs, it may well be that studying all courses that are 100% exam at the end might not suit your son or daughter. So they might want to consider some of the more practical options where there's still elements of coursework in there. So it's not all riding on that exam at the end. So it's worth considering that, although that's 3 years away now, and thinking ahead to the future, because obviously we want to set them on the pathway now to those subjects they're going to study in year 10 and 11. In response to these new GCSEs, we have reformed all of our curriculum. So the work that students are doing in year 7 and 8, although isn't GCSE work, is still preparing them in terms of the knowledge and the skills that they're going to need to be successful with those GCSE courses. So thinking ahead to what will the core curriculum look like for all students in year 9. So all students in year 9, and this is outside of the options process, will study English, and they will work towards 2 GCSEs, one in English language and one in English literature. All students will carry on with maths as a core subject, and all students will carry on with science. In year 9, all students will also continue with languages, and that will be the language they've studied throughout year 7 and 8, which will be French or Spanish. There is an opportunity as well to pick up a second language, which I'll come on to in a moment. All students will then do a non-exam course in careers, enterprise and health, which we call life skills. All students will carry on with core PE, which is their double practical PE lesson a week. All students will do ethics, and all students will continue with a tutorial PSHE program. So that is the part that everybody will study. They then have 6 further choices, which is obviously the process we're going through at the moment. Just looking ahead to year 10 and 11, just to see how that core curriculum changes slightly. There's not significant change. You'll see that all students will continue with English, maths and science, and that will lead to at least 5 GCSEs, and for some students who do single sciences, that will be 6 GCSEs. The key thing there is that at the moment, languages are not core curriculum for year 10 and 11. So a key decision that lots of year 9 students make is whether they're going to continue to study languages or not into year 10 and 11. And I think our viewpoint as a school is that we would strongly encourage all students to study a language at GCSE. However, we don't make it compulsory at the current time. You'll see there that in terms of the non-examination courses, careers, enterprise health, core PE, ethics and tutorial PSHE, they stay exactly the same. The difference when your son or daughter goes through this process in year 9 will be that they're going from 6 choices in year 9 and narrowing that down further to 4 choices in year 10. So looking ahead now, that's what it's going to look like in a year's time. In terms of the decisions your son or daughter's got to make over the next 10 days, they have got to make 6 choices. We guide them a little bit in that we say every student has to do either history or geography. And we know for a lot of students, they'll want to do both. So the first box on the options form is to choose history or geography. And then it is 5 from the list here. And some of those are subjects they've studied all the way through year 7 and 8, and some are an opportunity to specialise in a little bit more detail. So art and design is as they have studied in year 10 and 11. That's leading to 3 possible routes into year 10 and 11. Students now have an opportunity to study computer science and ICT. Previously in year 7 and 8, those 2 subjects have been combined. There is now an opportunity to specialise in either one or the other, or you could do both. You will see that technology has been broken down into the 3 elements now. So you can choose to specialise in design and technology, which is more workshop based, food preparation and nutrition, or textiles. Or if your son or daughter had a particular passion for the technologies, they may choose to do 2 of those or even 3 of those options as part of their 5 choices. Students can continue with drama as they have done in year 7 and 8. You will see there that we offer French, German and Spanish beginners. So that is to pick up the language as a complete beginner. So for example, your son or daughter has done French in year 7 and 8. They will continue with French regardless of their options, but it may well be that they decide they want to pick up a second language where they could then pick up German beginners as an option. Students can then do history or geography if they haven't chosen it in the first box. So lots of students will choose to do both. Students could continue with music or with religious education, as they've done in year 7 and 8. And there is an opportunity there to pick up PE additional, which is our PE pathway. And that is starting to look at more of the theoretical elements of PE. So that is predominantly classroom based. There'll be some practical work, and that is leading into the courses that students can study in year 10 and 11. So they're trimming down the subjects they're doing to 6 from that sheet. Now, once your son or daughter has started to make those decisions, they will then complete this form. Now, there is a copy of this form in the back of the booklet. Students will also receive a pink copy from their tutor towards the end of this week, which is the final copy they would hand in. You will see on there that it lays it out in terms of the student doing their first preference, either history or geography, and then 5 further. And we do ask them to make a reserve choice as well. Those reserve choices, we do not have to use for, I would say, about 95% of students. However, there is normally a small number of students whose option combinations simply do not work. We also do have some courses like food in particular, where we are number limited due to health and safety, and we can only run a certain amount of classes. So if we are oversubscribed for those courses, we do follow a policy where names are drawn out of a hat. If we got to that position, we would obviously communicate that with you. In terms of reserve choices, if we did have to go to a reserve, we would never automatically just put the reserve in. The system would be that I would contact your son or daughter to come and meet with me in my office. I would send them the way with the options to come home and discuss with you. And before we made any final decisions, I would write a letter to you that you have to sign and return just to say you are agreeing to that reserve choice. So we never just go for them automatically. However, it is really important they're filled in correctly, because that does inform my planning in terms of where the option blocks go and which subjects we are able to offer. Finally, in terms of the next steps, so just some key dates for your diary. So next Wednesday is Year 8 Parents' Evening. That booking system opened on Sunday, so hopefully you've been able to get online and book appointments with your son or daughter's teachers. We do appreciate that for some staff who teach more than one Year 8 class, those appointment times do get booked up. If you are unable to get an appointment with a member of staff you particularly want to speak to, then please feel free to contact the school either by phone or email and request a further appointment, and staff will be happy to follow that up for you. And then the key deadline is Friday, the 1st of April, which is the deadline for handing in completed curriculum choices forms. So they do need to be handed in to the tutor on Friday the 1st. Any that are handed in late are dealt with as late. And if we do have a situation where a course is oversubscribed, particularly something like food preparation and nutrition, there is a risk if it is handed in late that your son or daughter would not get onto that course. So it is really important that those forms are handed in on time. As we've experienced with Year 9, it may well be that some students may be off school unwell or isolating due to COVID. If that is the situation, then I'm more than happy for you to either email me with the choices or simply take a photo of the completed form and email that into school, and we will process them on time so that that student is not disadvantaged by being absent from school. If you have any questions about the process, or about the subjects, please feel free to contact me. I should have said at the start, and for those I haven't met before, my name's Mr. Ritchie. I'm assistant head teacher and I run the options process and the timetable for the school. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me or Mrs. Haynes, and we'd be happy to answer them for you. So I'll just end there by thanking you for taking the time to watch this evening, and look forward to meeting with you all soon. Thanks very much.